buzzing, y'all? It's time to get higher with your girl, B. My name's B. Marie. I am an environmental artist. I make music about environmentalism to creatively educate people, and I go by the name Big Earth Energy. I am also a sustainability communicator, and these talks right here are to grow the mindset of a higher consciousness for our planet. So by the way, I know I've gotten comments on my shirts, so today I'm wearing this shirt. It was actually a little boy's sweater. It's like a crop top on me, but see, it's literally a crop top on me. But this was a child's sweater, but I bought it because it said America's Energy. It's super cute. It's actually vintage as well. And I personally crossed off the co because we don't need to be using coal no more. And very appropriately today, I am talking about cryptocurrency, and I will explain later how this ties in. So let's get into it. So first of all, I'm going to talk about what is a cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is a digital asset, and it utilizes cryptography, which is a unique and unchangeable database of transactions known as the blockchain. Now, if we think about the blockchain, it is like a chain. And in order to make a transaction, there needs to be confirmation that the accounts have the money they say they do in order for them to transfer over. So this long chain, basically, in order for the transaction to happen, each link has to decode this real long mathematical equation to unlock the chain and go on to the next one. So you can't bounce around on the chain and just go to a random one. You have to pass each link in a consecutive order. So this is a non-centralized way to move money around, and it also is very unique, so that makes it very hard to counterfeit. Cryptocurrency requires mining. Mining is basically the solving of these complex mathematical puzzles. And if you can do it fast enough, you receive coin as a reward. So there are a lot of miners out there who basically have to use supercomputers to try to make these computations as fast as possible so that they can make their money. So to put into perspective, these supercomputers that can compute these equations super quickly and solve these problems, you need a supercomputer. Now, a supercomputer utilizes GPUs. Unlike a CPU, this is a graphics processor unit, and these require much more energy than any regular computer. And in fact, the device you're listening or watching this on right now, it would take millions of years for it to be able to compute just one. So these computers and this process requires a ton of energy. So the energy to run these computers definitely comes from a source. And the cheaper the energy, the more money that you can make mining. So that is why China became a very dominant force in mining. Recently, they have been cracking down though. So we will see what the future holds, and hopefully this shift will lead us to a more sustainable way of doing this. But generally speaking, this has not started in a sustainable format by any means. And if crypto wants a future, it needs to go beyond mining. It's already costly to make more coins, and the price of energy, and it's just bad for the environment. So ultimately, they have to move beyond this. So needless to say, crypto is bad for the environment. There's massive amounts of energy that it generates, carbon emissions, and not to mention the electronic waste of all these computers. Once they go out, they need to be replaced, and that makes for a lot of e-waste. The concerns for our environment are great when it comes to cryptocurrency. We know there's huge concerns about the energy consumption, and this has been brought to the attention of companies, especially Bitcoin. They have been called out by Elon Musk from Tesla, and so many more people have been talking about this. To make sure I gave an objective opinion about this, I wanted to look into the numbers and the most recent numbers that are out there. And what I could find was Bitcoin Mining Council. They do a quarterly report and they brief the public on their energy consumption and how that's going. So I took a look at the Q4 2021 briefing that happened in December. So I'll give you a brief overview, and all my sources are going to be linked down in the bottom so you guys can check out how I am bringing you this content. So in this briefing, Michael Saylor and his council, they compared Bitcoin mining and the energy consumption it uses to the energy consumption of the entire world. They also went ahead and compared this usage to industries of the world to show that they were more sustainable. Now, this is a good sign that they want to claim that they're being sustainable. And honestly, in my opinion, I think they need to walk the talk. If they're saying that they can raise this much percentage of renewables to 56%, then shoot, if they've done that so quickly, then they should be able to raise it even quicker as the years go on. So I'd like to see a positive side to this. But as you know, Bitcoin Mining Council is a council that was made by Bitcoin, the company that is in question. And these figures and the data, it comes from a voluntary survey, and they're simply estimations as well. So we still have to see how this evolves, but hopefully that this information is something that can set Bitcoin as an example for other industries even. So I want to take a closer look at the Bitcoin Mining Council's briefing that they gave. So they said that the total energy generated worldwide, their number was 154,750 terawatt hours. And how much Bitcoin consumes is a mere 220. So that meant that Bitcoin mining consumes 0.14% of the world's energy production. Now, that number does sound really small and it sounds quite insignificant. And that was the point that Michael Saylor was trying to make. The Bitcoin isn't making that much, they're not producing that much energy. However, a big argument that was circulating for the environmental impacts was that Bitcoin is using as much energy as the entire country of Argentina. Now, that is like a lot, right? But a lot of the arguments that were saying against it was that that's like comparing apples to oranges. And so I thought, okay, well, let's see what Bitcoin wants to compare themselves to. Now, Bitcoin decided to use their amount of energy and compare it to the entire world. So for me, I think this is again apples to oranges, because here's the thing. There's 7.8 billion people that live on this planet, and there's only 159 million people using Bitcoin. Now, when I did that calculation, that's only 2% of our population that is using Bitcoin. So I wanted to go ahead and make this a little bit fairer of a comparison. So rather than showing the entire world's amount of energy, I thought, let's just see 2% of that amount that they showed us. So 2% of the world basically uses 3,136 terawatt hours. And Bitcoin still uses 220. That means their percentage is actually 7.02%. So easy how that 7% just popped up, right? So as much as a 0.14% looks great on their presentation, it's not accurate. It's not an accurate depiction because they're using 7% of the populations. If you want to break it down to how many people use Bitcoin, and that same number of people that just use regular energy, they use 7%. And this is a company that wants to grow and have more users. So the more users that they have, the more energy consumption, and that means that number is going to go up. So, another comparison that the Bitcoin Mining Council made was global Bitcoin mining versus other industries. Now, the other industries they utilized was computer gaming, gold mining, healthcare, aviation, construction, road vehicles. Now, all these industries, mind you, they used global industries to compare, again, 159 million Bitcoin users. So let's take a look at the industry that they said they were the closest to. So their energy usage was just above the computer game industries. Computer game industries uses 214, and again, Bitcoin uses 220. So basically, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at the number of people that are playing video games. So, because that's not a fair comparison if you're still looking at the entire world compared to your users. So I went ahead and made that comparison for you guys so you could check it out. So basically, there's estimated 2.77 billion people in the world who play video games. So there's 159 million Bitcoin users. That means only 5% of the video game users is equivalent to the amount of Bitcoin miners. So basically, what they're saying is they're making equivalent amounts of energy as the entire world industry of gamers, but that's not true. They're only equal to 5% of gamers. What about the other 95? So they are making mass amounts of energy, and this presentation to me just showed that they're trying to twist the facts to make themselves look better and make people want to mine and do this. But I don't think it's fair to go under this guise and say, like, we're 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 still not using that much. And I think for me, what would have been better is if they would have came out and said, look, we've raised ourselves to 56% renewable energy, and we know we can do better, and we want to do better, and we want to set an example for other industries. But this presentation to me just seemed like it was talking points and just a way to get people off their backs of talking about the energy consumption. And this isn't about trying to point a finger of somebody who's creating a problem. We're all in this together. It's not us against the world. Just as they compared themselves against the world, it's not you against the world. It's the world together, and we need to come together and try to figure out solutions. And I would love it if they could become an example for other industries. But that being said, for me, I think what it raises is ethical questions, because it's like this company was started during an era when our planet is at risk. And to compare yourselves to other industries that have been around way longer, and they started, and this isn't to give them an excuse, but they did start when there wasn't that much information out there. When we started making automobiles and having our healthcare systems, we were just trying to grow as a civilization. But now we're still trying to grow, and I know there are people who really want a decentralized financial system, but we need to still keep our planet in mind, because this is an era that so much is at stake. And so for me, it's more of an ethical question of how much will we allow for new companies to come on the scene and just start in high energy consumption and fossil fuels or utilizing coal. It's just like, we should put companies responsible, and they should right off the bat be over 50% should be the bare minimum amount that they have to use renewables. In my opinion, we should push the renewable agenda. So to take a look, I know Bitcoin started in 2009. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look at what was happening in 2009 as far as environmentally. Now, there was the 2009 UN climate conference. So that was COP15 back then. We just had COP26 if you're up to date on that. But basically, this was the fifth of meetings after the Kyoto Protocol, and they were making a roadmap for climate mitigation beyond 2012. So climate action was ongoing. And so this is to point out that we truly need more regulations. And at this point, we need to have any new industries or infrastructures be more green. And so, like I said, I wanted to give a little bit more of an objective opinion. So that is why I wanted to just kind of start with like the facts, what the coin is, how it's mined, what the environmental issues are of it being mined, and the energy consumption and all of that. And then I wanted to take a look at what Bitcoin had to say as far as their energy consumption. And to me, their numbers seemed flawed. And I'm just putting the facts out there at the calculations I would have done if I was on that council to make it fair. But I feel like, everybody wants to paint themselves in the best light possible, and I understand that. But I do think at this point in time, we need to hold people accountable, and especially big companies. And I hope that this is a wake-up call. Like I said, I really just hope that we could use this as an opportunity. It sucks that cryptocurrency has to be the example of it, but they do. Like, honestly, we can't keep using non-renewable resources for our energy and things like that. And I think that they should step up and be a leader in switching to renewables and make the blueprint for these other industries. Rather than pointing your finger at the other industries, lead these industries and show them how it's done. And that is honestly just what I would encourage and I would like to see, is that, these industries, if they are going to stick around and want to be sustainable, that they really step up and do it. As of right now, I still don't see too many numbers that are, decreasing enough to where it makes me feel comfortable. So for me, like I said, I want to be as objective as possible so you guys can form your own opinions about all of this. But for me, I just, I don't feel right being involved in something that is harmful to our planet. And I did, at a certain point in time, I took a look at like green cryptocurrencies that were carbon neutral. I've heard it all. Trust me, before I made this video, I did a lot of research. And basically, for me, I feel that's great if that comforts you. And like I said, this is my opinion, but I think when you are involved in any type of coin, you're driving competition. And the competition isn't necessarily green or carbon neutral. So that's the biggest part of it, is when is it going to be more renewable energy use than the non-renewable? Because at this point, we don't have any to spare. And I just really think that needs to be understood. And it's not. So, whew. Sorry guys. I just see that this, a lot of people see it as an opportunity to make money, and that's a positive thing because money can be a tool for a lot of different things, but at what expense? If it's for our lives, our world, like, that's not worth it. And I think not until there's, better solutions should we start to use things like that. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And also, I'm totally open to suggestions for my next podcast. I have started school again, and it's just a busy time. So any suggestions will help me feel obligated to make a video. I obviously, there's a ton of topics and things I could do, but if I have a special request, I will honor it. And so I am going to link all my sources down in the description box below, just so you guys can check my sources, different articles, journals, and you can also watch the Q4. I'll link that down below, what I watched and everything. And let me know what you guys think. Do you think crypto is good? It's bad? Do you believe their numbers? Do you think they made valid representation by comparing themselves to the whole world? I would like to know your thoughts and any, comments about it. I would love to hear it. So just let me know down below and keep it buzzing, yeah. Bye.